All right, meeting's now streaming live. Hey, what's up, Wrestling World, Wrestling Nation, World Wrestling Live. We're here again with another amazing wrestling mind in our country and a head wrestling coach at Tampa Prep down here in Florida. He's been there 13 years as a coach. He's coached 7 individual state champs, 9 individual runner-ups, and he's had at least 1 state placer every year that he's been there. Prior to that, he was an assistant at Campbellsville in Kentucky. He was also an assistant at his alma mater, Campbell in North Carolina. Go, what are they called? The Campbell.
Fighting Camels.
The Fighting Camels.
There.
Go Fighting Camels. And they got a great new coaching staff up there with Scotty and the crew. That's his alma mater there where he coached as well. And he's a Florida kid, born and raised. He was a 3-time finalist up in Suwannee and a 2-time state champ back a few years ago.
Just a few.
Yeah. And he's with us today, man. Coach Andy Bricker, Tampa Prep, a Florida powerhouse. How are you, sir? Thank you so much for coming on. I really do appreciate it.
Oh, no, I'm doing fantastic. And like I told you before on Texas and everything, I appreciate everything you're doing. I'm just glad to be here, help you along. I think what you're doing is great, and just keep it going.
Yeah, it's been really fun. I've had your assistant on, Coach, and Jake Campbell.
Jake's the man.
And he was awesome. He was fun, and he obviously spoke very highly about the program. And I still owe him a beer down at St. Pete Brewing Company. And
yeah, man, you got to look him up. That's his game. He does that.
A lot of people want to meet me down there, and I want to meet them down there. But right now, obviously, it's just not time to do that stuff.
Yeah.
Plus, they're closed anyway. They can just do carry out. But shout out to Coach Cerullo out by you, who was down there this week and posted a picture of picking up some beer from there. So
nice.
Thanks to him. But yeah, man. Well, first of all, obviously we're in different times right now, Coach, and talk about obviously how has this affected Tampa Prep, Tampa Bay Brawlers, your University of Tampa kids, your Florida National Team. I mean, you're involved in all of that. So what have you been doing with all these kids and semi-adults just to keep them motivated and ready for when this happens?
And I would like to say, I wish we could do more. It's just a lot of it, like we were talking before, just how people had different views about it, about what they're going to do or what they're going to allow their kids or themselves to do. I mean, we really have not done as much as we normally do, like we want to do. Say just the high school level, it depends on what schools you're at. Mostly, like I said, I say not really some schools, but probably all the private or public schools are basically all shut down. Nobody's on campus. They got all the restrictions. So if you have a wrestling room there, you're not getting in that building. Now, a lot of people have done I say a good thing of getting some mats and open up some little warehouses, some little places to practice. But then that's certain people's opinion. Guys, we're trying to create spaces for these kids to go and doing some more wrestling during the summer, some more training. Most of us, it's sort of a lifestyle. We got to have it. We got to be able to do it. And the ones who are able and willing and, are finding these places, they're traveling all over to go to a different club or, a warehouse somewhere or, a jiu-jitsu gym or whatever else, do some kind of wrestling somewhere because it's hard, seeing some of these people. Like our club, I mean, Jake's baby, the Tampa Bay Brawlers, it's for us, our facilities were out of Tampa Prep, so that's been on a big hold. The only thing he can do is tell people about other places is open and go meet them somewhere else and, and practice with them in other places. So we're sort of at the mercy of some of the other buildings, some of the other clubs, luckily, like the Brawlers Wrestling Club's always been an open club. Not really, there's no membership fees or anything like that. People came from all over Florida, people from different states and things. And it's good. It's cool to see people do the same thing for us. Since we don't have a space right now, they're opening up their rooms for us. So we're traveling over to these other places and getting in there if we can for the ones who are able to do it.
Yeah, and I know just right down the road from you, Palm Harbor's opening one up at the beginning of the month, and I'm sure Coach would love to have you down there with his kids. it can't hurt to have one of the best coaches in our state in your room teaching kids. So
they're all they're all good coaches there. You know, the Palmer guys have been there back and forth sometimes with them. Like I said, you got guys from there. You got Mark Prince from Countryside. Some of those people are finding spaces to put mats down, which is great.
now, Alex De Armas just said, if I'm not mistaken, Coach Bricker was also NHSCA national champ 99 and 2000. Is that true?
That is true. I totally forgot about that.
All right. You are correct, Coach De Armas. Let me give you a like. Bam.
It was the NHSCA High School National Open back in the day and stuff. So yeah, I won that. I think it was 99 right before my senior year. I think, yeah.
That's awesome. Well, hey, cool to know. Hey, coaches are keeping up with you. See that?
It's been so long, you know, so many tournaments. You don't remember everything, that's for sure.
Man, so obviously Suwannee High School in Live Oak, that's a small town up there.
Oh, yes.
Come out of a place like that. How, man, how'd you get so good coming out of such a little town? What did that school mean to you in coaching, and did you have to do a lot of traveling, or is that just a quiet, simple powerhouse we don't know about?
Well, I mean, it's always been a powerhouse. I mean, the program got up there, you know, years ago, back when say there were only 2 divisions in the state of Florida when it came to high school wrestling. So back then, you know, it was sort of tough. It wasn't many programs and stuff, but Suwannee won like 3 state titles as a team. They had a coach who moved in there from you know, an Alabama guy by the name of David Laxton, who was back when I believe it was Auburn. I'm pretty sure he was had a college program. He came from there and stuff, started the whole thing. So Suwannee, you know, was a school with, you know, a bunch of corn-fed athletes. You know? I mean, the wrestling program won 3 state titles. The football program had 4 titles back to back. You know, they were just athletes everywhere and taught these kids how to wrestle and stuff. And when it comes down with that too, is my father was the biggest thing for me when it comes to wrestling. My father moved down from Indiana, and he was an Indiana state champion. So, and he was involved in wrestling, everything we did from high school program. My dad coached the middle school program, all that stuff. So small little town, we had a good little group of people who knew how to wrestle, and a bunch of hungry, you know, athletic kids coming out of the, you know, watermelon fields ready to, you know, start wrestling and stuff like that. So
yeah, it's amazing, these little Florida towns that produce some of our greatest athletes that have this country ever seen. You know, I mean, people know of Apopka now, but when we were getting big name kids coming out of there, nobody really knew about it. Or down, you know, Liberty City and Overtown in South Florida has grown to where it's people know about it now, but back in the day we were getting kids out of there. Some towns in Tampa off the beaten path, Lakeland, you know, Polk County has these little hotbeds, right? And Suwannee is one of them, and it's great to see. I mean, I had Aralis Valles on here, one of the top girls that's ever wrestled in our state. She's coaching up at Grandview, and I think her hometown had like 2,500 people in it. So cool. And she was a girl wrestler too at the time. You know, unfortunately, people didn't see that as an equal, and it's nice to see that people see it that way now. And
yeah,
when
with it and stuff, of course, you know, had your stuff, but yeah, we did have to travel a lot. So that was the other thing, you know, spent a lot of time. I mean, my brother and I and stuff traveling to actually Jacksonville, taking about a 2-hour trip out to see people like Don Hodling, who was at Orange Park at the time and stuff, and doing stuff for the national teams and stuff. And he was a guy who came down from New York and wrestled for Syracuse. He was an unbelievable coach. And they said my brother and I would come out of the watermelon fields, you know, go home, shower, and drive to Jacksonville for a night practice like at least twice a week, you know, and come back. So
that's awesome. I want to go pick a fresh watermelon. That would be something cool. I've been to like blueberry patches and stuff like that, but I've never been to a watermelon. So that's got to be cool. Yeah. But that's awesome. So your head coach, are you still tight with him? Has he still kind of mentored you through the years, and what's he up to these days?
Talking about high school and stuff?
Yes, sir.
Not as much, whatever. A little bit of fun. He's been in and out of that program and stuff, and we sort of broke contact or whatever a long time ago. But I'm still tight with the father, stuff like that. My dad, of course, always coached me. And a lot of other coaches on the way, for the guys I worked with club programs and stuff, and all the traveling I did. I got a lot of friends from coaches, coaching staff from around, the whole state and everything.
That's cool. Yeah, and it's funny. I was just going to say, I had Mike DeAugustino on, and he would say that he's wrestling up at FPC, but he would drive to do club at CFWA, which was an hour and a half away or whatever.
Oh, yeah. At one time before I even graduated, like going into my senior year of high school, whatever, we had a couple young guys from Flagler Palm Coast who came in and started coaching our high school program and stuff. So, Tom Bartolotta and his brother Steve Bartolotta. So those were some good guys who all graduated from there.
As I was thinking that, Coach Mark DeAugustino types in great young coach right there. So it was pretty awesome. Our minds were thinking the same. And hey, Coach Mark, I need to have you back on, man. We didn't talk long enough when you were on, man. He was super awesome. We could have talked for hours, but so anyway, I know you're very involved in your assistant coach has a club, Tampa Bay Brawlers, down there that I think I have them up on the wall somewhere here.
Over there on your right side, yeah.
And I know you're highly involved with the University of Tampa and their club program, but then of course the Florida Greco National Team. I mean, talk about those programs and what they mean to you and what they mean to growing Florida wrestling and how far has our national team come?
Okay, well,
does that make sense?
Yeah, no, I get you. A lot to it, but off with the Brawlers and stuff. So come down here, I guess when Jake Campbell and I were first coming into Tampa, coaching and stuff. So we were at different schools and things. But we all there used to be only a couple of clubs around here in the Tampa area and stuff, whatever. So a couple of got started. So of course you had the Brandon Club, which was huge. A lot of people who grown up with that. And at that time, around about my first probably year at Tampa Prep, Mike Joyce started the K-Man Wrestling Club. And that started growing to a very huge club, people from all over and stuff coming to it and everything. That's basically where Jake and I met. So we had them, and they had Dave Mills running the new Tampa Wrestling Club too, starting up there. And we both traveled around helping out with those kind of clubs and met. And when those clubs started breaking off and, sort of leaving and stuff, and Jake had the idea we need to do more of, club sort of like, K-Man was, I guess, where it wasn't really like a huge, you got to be, if you're at this club, you got to wrestle at this school, or you got to do this, you got to do that. We wanted an open club for everybody kind of stuff. So, anybody can come in, bring coaches and college kids, whoever from all over the place, just a big melting pot of wrestling minds and bodies kind of stuff. So, and it's been doing like that. It's been going pretty well and running it, of course, out of the Tampa Prep press room because, we sort of have access to that facility. But it's not, just for our kids. So we've time and time again, we'll probably every club practice when we had it was probably, it was more kids from other schools and other states than it was from our school. So like I said, we were doing it for the whole community.
Yeah, and I think I had Kyle and Kevin on. I think they mentioned they come in there and roll around.
Yeah, Kevin's
not allowed to, but is it Kevin that's not allowed to, or Kyle?
Kyle's not allowed to wrestle still right now. No.
But Kevin says he's still kicking people's ass with.
Yeah. He's not allowed to, but I heard him about beating up some kids too with one arm. So yeah.
Yeah.
He's a stud, definitely.
And that's got to be great for these young Florida kids to see our greats come back to the room and really help out. I know you coach the junior and cadet national team.
Yeah.
How far has that team grown? And
it's done a lot, man. With these young kids and stuff. So I mean, anybody tell you? I know you talked to Kevin about it too, about how Florida compares to different states and everything. As the state with depth, yeah, we don't have the depth like some of the northern states do or whatever. But as Kevin would say, you take our top guys in the state, we'll put them against any top other person in the country, and they'll pretty much win hands down, I would say. But that's how sort of it has been for Florida when it comes to our national teams. And from schoolboys, cadets, and juniors, we got some studs. We got some kids who travel around and wrestle as much as they can, and they've been doing it since they could walk. And having kids from Florida, almost, I say, since I've been involved in teams, probably since the past 4 years, just with the Fargo team and stuff, we've had kids in the finals in both freestyle and Greco every year. in the Fargo National Finals. It just shows that the state we're doing it. We can consistently put people on the platform for nationals in the Fargo Finals. Consistently do that every year. Consistently have All-Americans every year. We might not have as many kids there as some of the other states, but I think that says even more for us if we have less numbers, but we're still consistently having All-Americans, national finalists, and national champions every year.
Yeah, it's funny. I don't know. I was looking at something last night, and Michigan Grappler, their page came up or something, and I was like, "Oh, cool. We went there last year. That was like one of our first tournaments we ever traveled to." Daniel got a chance to go with his club, and I scroll down. They don't have any dates set up yet because not many people know what they're doing next. But I scroll down to 2019 high school winners, and I mean, some would say the Grappler is one of the top tournaments in the country, right?
Yeah.
And I'm looking and I remembered seeing some of these guys win, but I don't remember all of them. And it was like Florida, 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 Florida. And I remember, I think they were second as a team behind Michigan at that tournament. But it's pretty cool looking at the list now because now I know some of those kids because I've had them on. Where before I would see these names and I'd be like, who the hell's that, right? But it's definitely getting to look back at some of these tournaments and seeing Florida kids' names nationally. And now to know who they are is pretty dope. I was like, yeah, hey, I know those guys. So
what those kids do for our state is unbelievable. I mean, like I said, just having, a kid from our state who's nationally known, his name, and just represents us. And, like you said, comes back here and walks in some little wrestling room like at Tampa Prep and helps out other kids and stuff like that. It's awesome.
Yeah, I mean, how great has it been seeing Lugo everywhere right now as a
Oh,
fighter
yeah.
at all these top competitions?
Yeah, like you said, watching that kid grow up and wrestle when he was just a little old kid beating the crap out of, seniors when he was a freshman and stuff like that, and just watch him grow to what he is. Yeah, it's
And we got a couple Florida studs going to your alma mater.
Oh, yeah.
But speaking of that whole conference is getting a lot of good Florida kids. That SoCon's really growing.
Yeah, SoCon's growing and stuff. I mean, the conference changed a little bit. It was not the conference I was part of when I was at Campbell. We were in a total different conference. It doesn't even exist anymore in CAA, which was schools like Hofstra when Tom Bryan was coaching them, Drexel, Ryder, Boston University, George Mason, James Madison. Totally different, like 11-team conference and thing, and sort of schools just started changing and leaving and all kinds of stuff like that. Even American and Old Dominion schools that actually, like James Madison, Old Dominion dropped their programs and things. So, but see how the Southern Conference has come, because I know like App State, Chattanooga, Davison, all those teams have all been part of the Southern Conference for years. It's seeing that conference grow to the conference it is now. It's pretty cool. It's very fun.
Seeing the out of conference wins they're getting is cool. And the whole South, man, that ACC is that's got to be great for just South wrestling. But Coach Scotty sent us his brother Steven sent us. He hates when Scotty makes me do that. Scotty's brother Steven sent us. He says he just put beast, and then Coach Mark DeAugustino asked, "What does Andy think of LHP moving on up to preps, and how do you think that'll help Florida wrestling?"
Okay. Well, first give Stevie Sintez a shout out. He's awesome.
Yeah, Scotty's brother.
Yeah. and Big Steve, the father, he was one of our team coaches. Awesome. But having Lake Island Prep move up, I'm happy for them. It's something for them as a program they felt like they needed to do, and they did it. So having an initiative and ability to be able to do that, I mean, I know there's a lot of politics and everything involved when it comes to working with your school and having that ability to do it, because you have to break off from the FHSAA. You can't participate in the state series or any of those other things like that. And it's definitely a lot more traveling. So it's a big decision, but where Palazzo is trying to do with his program, he thought it was the best. And I mean, I think I think he's doing a good thing for him and for his kids there. I know we're sorry that he's leaving. I mean, for our 1A and stuff like that, the competition we always looked for. I remember maybe a year or so ago, went to one of those little rumbles at Lake Island Prep, or I started at Central Florida Wrestling Academy. And I sat there one day after doing a couple of matches, talking to Brandon Scott, and talking about wrestling as always. You get some minds together for wrestling kids, or we have a break. We'll talk a little bit, and he mentioned a comment about how just how competitive we are against them. Some of our Tampa Prep kids and stuff, and you look at them and I look at them and tell them, well, you're the guys we train for. We train to wrestle, the nationally ranked kids and stuff. That's what my kids are doing for. We're not here to, just walk around and win little city tournaments or stuff like that or anything or stuff. We train our kids to go after the best and wrestle the best. And it happens to be in our division and in our state, like Alma Prep is one of the best. And we don't think we've, are doing our jobs unless we're training our kids to be competitive with people like them.
Yeah,
So,
it makes sense. Do you think that we'll see, I guess you don't have to answer this question like straight on, but do you think we'll see other teams follow suit?
it is hard to say. Like you said, like Alma Prep having the ability to do that is great. That a school let them do it. I just don't see too many schools, actually caving into that, I guess, seeing the same eye to eye stuff, whatever. There's some programs out here I know could do it. I mean, unfortunately, it's only be for the private academies to be the private schools that can do it. And there's some private schools that have the, definitely the ability, just like Alma Prep did, but it's all going to depend on the schools they coach at, schools they represent that are going to do the same thing. It's just, I can't tell you. I really don't know the politics behind it and stuff. I mean, I could tell you, like me at Tampa Preparatory School, would he probably let me do it? I'd probably say no. So I don't know what what logistics of it is. What do you have to do as a school, to let one school travel like that? Because you got to think about it. If you're letting one school do something, or one sport at your school, what does the other sports want? Because some schools have travel restrictions. At prep we had that. It took me, about 4 years competing and complaining to get my team to be able to compete out of state. The first thing we were able to do was go to the Prep Slam up in Atlanta, Georgia, at Episcopal, school up there. Now, again, it took 4 years competing and stuff for me. Like, hey, let me take these kids up there, because before that we had a 3-hour radius. A Tampa Prep we could go. We couldn't travel more than that. So I mean, I couldn't even return it in Miami. Yeah,
I think that's a lot of. I think the restrictions. I think some of the restrictions caused him to make that decision. But like others have said, hopefully it can bring those prep schools into the tournaments and get to compete against, a Tampa Prep, a South Dade, a Lake Gibson, or anybody, any of our schools, because maybe as a team they're not the best teams in the states, but they have guys on it that can compete that don't normally get seen or may not get seen. But if there's a prep school in your tournament, somebody's there watching, and that kid, their name's on the mantle.
Yeah, no, having more schools, I mean, they could do that like how prep did or whatever. It would bring more prep schools down here to us, definitely. I can see that. It'd be good for the state, definitely. It's just it's maybe something that probably needed to wake some of the FHSA up a little bit, saying, like, hey, if we want to be competitive as a state, and that's what we're trying to do here, we're trying to build up our state and all our athletes and things, there might be some changes that need to be made, or people might do this, they might do something else or whatever, because some people are going to find a way to do what they want. And I think like Alma Prep did it.
Yeah, man, good for them, right? And Jesse Martinez, great coach, great person. Mark DeAugustino, great answer, coach. Couldn't have said it better. Thank you.
You can definitely say it better. They're better talkers than I am.
Absolutely. Well, let's talk about your home for the last 13 years at Tampa Prep. I have no idea what type of program they were prior to you, but over the last 13 years, you've definitely put them on the map. 7 state champs, 9 runner-ups, at least 1 state placer every year. We talked about that a little bit, but what kind of culture and philosophy do you think you have in your room that grows or create such an amazing environment for these kids.
Yeah. Okay. Well, one thing I guess you say, since it's a small team, small room, so the family atmosphere is pretty tight. You know, everybody's there for everyone, which is it's great to have in a restroom kind of thing, as everyone's pushing each other, trying to make each other better. The say the difference between some experience and stuff is out of the world, you know. Like when you have like we'll have kids that they come into the program, be the first time they ever put a pair of shoes on, you know, and right next to them would be somebody like Anthony Ardoano who's already won 3 Fargo titles, you know. You know, so things like that. But the thing is, it's like they're not really separated. It's a small room. It's one little program. It's a small number of kids. There's no JV side or JV practice and a varsity practice. They're all in room together. So everyone's in there making everyone better and stuff. And the same thing with us and the coaches there, like Jake, myself, and James Gift, our other assistant, Big Tony, who's been with me probably for like 11 years now, 12 years now. We're all in there, and we're all in there with a pair of shoes on, you know, in there drilling and working out with our kids too. So I think that's the other big kicker. I think we're a program where we'll go in there and beat on our guys, and he'll come back and beat on us. So we exchange hands and everything. It's pretty cool. So
Yeah, and how? I mean, you've got 3 coaches, right? You, Jake, and
James Gift, Big Tony is what we call him, Big Tony.
Big Tony, and you guys are all very good wrestling coaches, and I'm sure personalities. How are you guys able to kind of do your thing, but together, but separately, if that makes sense? I'm sure you have different. You may work with these people, he may work with these people, or you may be better on top, maybe better, but I don't know, stuff like that. How are you guys able to spread that apart and still have that common goal?
Yeah, I think it's where it comes to exactly what you said at the end. We have a common goal, so definitely we see everything on the same page, or you know, we don't do it. Basically, you know, it's we all agree pretty much everything we're doing. There's not one person not happy with something, and we're not, you know, but we're gonna do it anyways. But no, um, you know, me, I've always been a kind of say hands-on coach. It's for me, it's I got to be on the mat. I'm great. I guess one of my best attributes is probably one-on-one. You know, working with kids and you know, building up that way and stuff. Where you know, Jake does that, but he's good at putting you know, what should I say? I say with Jake Campbell is one of the best, you know, corner man you can have when wrestling. There's not a better strategist than a guy who can actually have somebody, you know, coach somebody in the corner than him. And Big Tony is a guy who could everything I can think of or try to think of, none of it makes sense. I can give Tony a practice and a sheet like, hey, I want to do this a day, and he's probably the only person who can translate it and make it work. So for a practice and a time frame and stuff, whatever, and he's good with that. Good with the kids. He knows how to push them, you know, and stuff. When I lose focus because I'm working with somebody else, Big Tony can jump in there and keep the practice running, help me screwing things up or losing track of time, kind of stuff. So, and we all have our own little things of what we're good at, you know, from conditioning to different types of technique and stuff, whatever. And we just have that, you know, that flow where we work things in there. I mean, I love to teach. I love the technique of everything, and I've learned almost, you know, good stuff from every position. But I guess we all start with the basics as much as everything. And from that we just build up on the basics, teach all these kids. We're not the big flashy kind of team, flashy wrestlers. We've all in our own right. When we all 3 of us competed, we all were the in your face kind of brawlers kind of guys, you know, we're that kind of style. So we just sort of teach that to our kids, sort of the same thing, to keep that high pace, high energy, and just, you know, keep going at somebody, you know.
And how you're a private school, right? So
Yeah.
anybody in the nation can go to school there. How do you keep your wrestlers focused academically to make sure that they get to not just wrestle, but even if not wrestle, at least they're getting to college and they're going to college and getting that education, and you know, whether it's one of the division series or the NAIA or the NWCA. What do you do to make sure you keep them focused in the classroom?
Yeah, well, that's the one thing you say about Tampa Prep is we are a you know, a college preparatory school. That is a goal. It's the right reason why the kids are there. They're not there just for the sport or just get a high school diploma. The goal of that school is to get kids into colleges, and it's a rigorous, high academic school. I mean, when it comes to college placements and stuff like that, we probably got one of the highest of the schools in the state of Florida. And academic wise, it's not easy. It's honors and higher, so we're all honors and AP classes. So if they're there for academics. They're there for the education. I mean, it's their parents are not paying that tuition to have these kids just get just be eligible for sports. That doesn't happen that way. So most of them. So I say a lot of these are the kids we find, the kids we get in there. They're students before they're ever athletes. We're just taking these kids who all have twice the IQ I do and trying to teach them how to wrestle, kind of stuff, and fit them in there. And the thing is, a lot of them have that competitiveness with their athletic or their academics, and you bring a lot of that competitiveness, the same thing, and that same attitude in their athletics. So it's a lot of relating stuff like that, I guess. Their classroom, how they handle themselves in their classroom, their academics, their schoolwork, their homework is. We can use that to make sure that he handles herself the same way in sports, or the other way around kind of stuff, because they go hand in hand. If they don't have we come from one of the schools, if their grades drop, they're not doing very well, when the first thing their parents are going to do is take them out of that sport, so it's a big focus on the academic part of it.
Yeah, I'm going to ask, is there a GPA requirement that you ask them to stay above to be able to continue to wrestle, or do you not even need to do that because their parents will handle that?
Yeah, we never really had to do that kind of stuff. Never really had to put that, because they're all that sort of self-motivated, because hey, you're here to get into college. Then on the coaching part of it, we're like, what college do you want to go to? Do you want to wrestle in college? Because if you want to do it, you got the academics, you got the grades, you got the test scores to, do several colleges and things. Now, if you want to wrestle in college and stuff too, that's where we jump in. That's where we help out with all these college contacts and stuff we have. We can find the ideal school for them, we work the best for them and everything. And a lot of them sort of understand that athletics itself is a gateway to almost every university. At school, universities and colleges use athletics to get their name out there, to create a thing for that, a name for yourself, and so nationally, because of sports and stuff. And if you have you've got a high academic athlete and everything, your chances of getting to what college you want to go to is even higher. So we can use that as fuel kind of thing. It's like, hey, with your academics and the ability you have in this sport, we can get you to whatever college you want to go to, especially if it has wrestling.
That's awesome. Yeah, and I'd imagine, like, my son is at the First Academy up in Orlando, and this year he was a freshman, and I'm sure the same thing happens there. They give you not because he's in a sport, just because he's a student at the school, all of a sudden he gets a college counselor, and they ask him, what are your goals 4 years from now? And then they kind of back in, okay, if these are the schools you want to go to, this is how you need to get there. This is what you need to do. This is where you need to be personally, academically, athletically, whatever. So I'd imagine.
Yeah, we have for us, we do it and stuff too. As coaches, we help out with that. But as a school, we also have college counselors for every grade level.
Yeah, so. That's cool. So first thing, Mark DeAugustino. First of all, Jake Campbell. Brick is the man, my brother from another mother. I say it all the time. Brick is the best technician in the state. Been a heck of a ride since we came together 8 years ago. We've accomplished a lot, but we got so much more to accomplish. So that's awesome. And Mark DeAugustino asked a question too. I'll let you respond to Jake, but also, don't you guys have, didn't I see Jake post a fundraiser you guys are trying to do right now?
Us? No.
Was it Jake that I saw?
He might be having something. I know he's got a camp coming up. He's going to be working pretty soon too. That could have been it also. I think the camp itself is a fundraiser. He does a lot of stuff with the guys up there in Gainesville with Ryan Wagner and them. So I think
cool.
Jay's got a camp coming up. It might be maybe the 1st of August. I got to double check again. So he'll be going up there, taking Anthony Artolona with him, I'm pretty sure, and helping out with a camp up there. So, but Jake's been a blessing, since it's been a change. So when I first got to prep and stuff, at first I was the lone person, first season all by myself kind of thing, coaching, and running a bunch of these kids who were like, who are all juniors and seniors and wondering who the heck is this 5'2", guy who's teaching us and bringing this whole different style to us and stuff and change the atmosphere. And right after that, we had, say Big Tony, who was actually a former graduate, came back from college and started helping me with Tampa Prep. He's coaches other sports there too. And we were doing our thing and trying to develop a little bit and trying to grow as much as we could. Then Jake came on the scene with the schools he worked at in Tampa and everything. And he came in with a couple of kids he knew and stuff that were coming over to us. We're looking for schools to go to. And he jumped in there and been a huge part ever since. He's been that kind of person that can talk to anybody, relate with anybody, talk wrestle with anybody, just kind of the person who people just love. And a lot of people just flock to him. They'll follow him wherever he's at, or come to clubs and stuff like that. He's just been, like I said, one of the greatest minds I've worked with as a coach in a long time, or probably forever. Definitely the high school level.
Awesome. It's definitely working as a team, right? Bill Crum said Andy's a class act. Happy he's part of the Team Florida coaching staff. We should be in Fargo right now.
Yeah.
So Coach DeAugustino, he asked, and first I'd like to say out to the wrestling world, I appreciate when you guys come on and throw these questions up, because it really makes the show go a little.
Keep the question simple though.
Yeah, keep going. This one might not, I don't know if this one's simple or not, but wrestling is such an old sport, if not the oldest sport. What one change, if any, would you make to make wrestling more mainstream?
Yeah, that's an issue. It's been an issue for years and stuff, I guess you say, with the sport of wrestling. And I myself am to blame about it too, I guess, because as you were sort of saying before, a lot of us are introverts and things, whatever. We keep a lot of stuff to ourselves. And if you want to know anything about what we probably should do, there's a book that came out probably about 10 years ago called The Silent Gladiator. Read that book. It's amazing, but it touches face to what we need to be doing. We don't promote ourselves enough as a sport. We tried, The Silent Gladiator, and I right now I can't remember the author, but it was a great book. But finding ways to promote the sport itself. I think a lot of it's happening more. Television, internet, and everything else has done so much for us. People like you who are, got this show going on, interviewing things. That's a way to keep, our sports more in the highlight of everything. Because there's a lot of things, like you mentioned before, about trying to understand it. There's a lot of people can, turn on the television when the Olympics are going on and see, okay, wrestling's going at this time, and have no idea what's going on. Turn the channel and go, because you don't understand the sport. Yeah. Raise your hand and stuff. What is this? That versus like watching, Usain Bolt run a 100-meter dash and make it in under 9 seconds or something like that. That's easy to understand. Okay, running from point A to point B, but learning how to, understand the sport of wrestling, what's going on, how things are scored and stuff. But that part, keeping the score and the things, the rule as simple as it can. I know there's more than one style, but that's international versus high school style, and that's a long argument again. Should we stay with folk style, or should we go into freestyle for colleges and things like that? To me, wrestling is wrestling. If it's a rule change, we'll do it. It doesn't matter. Whatever side you want to do, I'm for it. Whatever makes the sport better. But that, trying to promote, wrestling as much as we can in our community and things, whatever. There's a lot of people who are trying to do it, with club programs and everything. But on a national level, I think some of our organizations are doing a pretty good job with it. NCAA is doing a lot better. I think USA Wrestling is doing a lot better. I think these things, as the stuff going on now with the RTC programs, in different colleges and things like that, there's a way it's helping our program, or helping our our country when it comes to wrestling. Having more and more of these RTC programs where more people can train and develop more athletes and things, it's making the state or the country itself more competitive. So that's helping. So it's an old sport, but for a long time, we haven't done enough to promote ourselves in our sport, and we got to keep doing it.
And I think it's nice to see some of these live competitions starting to happen with the big names like the Rooftop, and then I know there's something coming up with like Dake and
Chamizo and stuff. Yeah.
So pretty cool. And then the girls, man, I'd love to see that going on. I know I see on Twitter the battles going on right now, but definitely based on what I've learned over the last 4 months doing this, well, 17 weeks or something, I don't know what it's been, but since April 6th, I mean, the women seem to be keeping us afloat.
Yeah.
Really, which is awesome. And then getting to meet some of these cool women. I have Jessica Medina coming on at 4, who is just amazing. I read about her, I looked her up, and I sent an ask to her, and she was kind enough to say, "Hell yeah, I'll do it." And so it's dope. I've had women from Australia, New Zealand. That was pretty cool. I had the whole Florida girls thing on when we were doing the trying to get it sanctioned. So it's cool. I mean, I've had girl refs on. There's a girl ref out in New Mexico. That was pretty dope. And I had
it's awesome seeing that competitive. I know women itself competitiveness. Yeah, you don't hold anything back with them. I had the pleasure of being able to go to the 2011 World Championships in Istanbul. I was able to actually help coach somebody, a woman representative from El Salvador, Ingrid Kura. She was awesome. So she took me as a coach of hers to say Turkey for the Worlds, and she took me as a coach to coach her at the Pan American Games in Guadalajara, Mexico. And seeing these women wrestling, I'm like, yeah, I think these women have been tough for years. Promoted enough. Somebody who wants to say otherwise has definitely never been to an international event with some of these women wrestlers, because they don't have a clue how good these girls are.
Yeah, I had a girl from Texas that she won the 2-time boys freestyle state championship in high school. And I asked her what she liked about it. She goes, "Just seeing the boys when I kicked their ass."
Yeah.
So that's funny, but
seeing a girl All-American in Fargo and Greco. So yeah, that definitely happens.
Yeah, what is your opinion on that whole Greco argument? Why? I'm sure you see it where
I've tried to realize this stuff, so I don't know exactly what's going on with it. I've just heard people talking about it and stuff. I mean, Greco as a sport itself, I mean, it's another thing. I guess we have wrestling with freestyle and folk style. They're very close hand to hand. And so more people in the wrestling community understand that. Not everybody does Greco. And once you learn a little bit about it, Greco is awesome. It's very hard. It's a big chess match and stuff. And I wish that somebody taught it to me earlier, and I would have competed in it, a lot more. I mean, the only time I really had a chance to was 1 year on the Florida Junior dual team. Got to do Greco. I did it there, and which I can't believe I actually did, all right with it, and I was returning, I was a former freestyle All-American, and went out there and did both styles, freestyle and Greco junior dual team. Dropped every one of my freestyle matches, won every one of my Greco matches. So I'm like, okay, yeah, it was weird, but should have done it at Fargo. I didn't. Whatever. My brother did it, and he had a blast. He was a match away from being All-American. His first year wrestling Greco at Fargo and stuff. But it's like, so I wish I would have done it more, because the more I've been here now, working with people, having kids like Anthony Artolone and coaching him, who was, a Greco national champion, a Greco finalist and things too, and learning more and more about Greco, working with people like in our state, which is, the legends, as in Sean Sheldon and JD Robbins, 2 of the best Greco wrestlers and coaches in the world, are here in the state of Florida and stuff, and meeting some of those other guys, who are just Greco minds. You've had Terry Allison on here, Terry Style, unbelievable guy.
Yeah, also Betterman.
Yeah, Betterman. And you also had Nate Angle, Florida boy who's out there at Stanford now. Those guys are just.
Coach Hall was on, and he mentioned, he goes, "I really wish more Greco guys would come on the show."
Well, all those guys for those stuff.
Like, well, I don't know who they are, so you'd have to send them to me.
Yeah, Coach Paul Walker, another Greco, legend and stuff, and all those guys are in this state. So learning more about that and things. I mean, Greco is awesome. I mean, I love freestyle. I say I was probably better at it, but believe me, I mean, I'll get on the mat with anybody and wrestle Greco too. It's fun. So, like I said, all it is a rule change, really, and people will see anything different. Really, it's them. That's their opinion or whatever. I mean, it's still wrestling. It's just maybe you're not used to it. You got to learn a little bit more about it, but it's still a challenge. It's still you versus one more person, another person in a wrestling match. and stuff. And all it is the change of rules and change of position and stuff. It's a challenge. And some people don't like the challenges of it, I guess.
I see my kids used to have that pull-up bar in the room. And then not this past Christmas, but the Christmas prior, or no, maybe for their birthday. I don't know. We got a real pull-up bar and we drilled it up into the garage.
There you
So
go.
now they've got it out there and they've got some ropes hanging, you know, what those, what are those things called that you use to cheat first and then build yourself up?
Some like resistance bands and stuff like that.
Yeah. So, I mean, Daniel's at a point now where he can do them without it, but Zachary's still working with the bands.
Yeah, that's the little one here. That's just been up there. So I don't know why. I got a whole thing of bars outside my backyard I built.
Oh yeah, no, we had ours up for a while too until I think we finally took it down when our house, not this summer, but last summer, our house flooded and we were out of the house for like 4 months. One of the, you know, the bubble that's attached to that bar in your toilet where it floats up and pops, it popped, it broke off. So we were at work all day. We came home, the whole house was flooded. So you could imagine we were a family of 4 in a little apartment.
Yeah. That's for my rain delays when I can't go outside and use my bars and help. So
cool. It was fun. We used to have like this like rope from it, and the kids would do different things with it. It was pretty cool. But anyway, man, yeah, I appreciate obviously having you on, man. It's been great. I know I get your name thrown at me a lot. You got to get Bricker on. Got to get Bricker on. So we finally made it work, and I'm happy for that. And a great conversation, good stuff. I mean, I could continue to ask you questions for hours. I'm sure we can continue to do this. But I know you're really comfortable in front of the camera, so we'll get going here. All right, 10 questions. You ready?
Sure. I can't even remember what your 10 questions are anymore. So
all right.
Oh yeah.
Bucks or Lightning?
Oh man, Lightning. Tampa Bay Lightning. There's an unbelievable team, an unbelievable franchise here and stuff. It's, you know, watching Lightning game is fantastic inside of that Amalie Arena.
Yeah, and it's I guess it's raining outside. It's getting dark. My sister-in-law just went to one for the first time, and she said it's really cool. They're doing a boat now that'll take you from St. Pete to the river district or riverfront there, whatever, and you can walk over.
Yeah, the big like boat, like ferry or whatever. Yeah, it takes you from part of St. Pete all the way to the convention center right there in Tampa. Yeah.
Yeah, that's good. That brings fans in. Maybe the Rays should try that.
Yeah.
Butlers or the Burger Spot?
Ooh, I actually really don't know either one of those, so I'm not a big burger guy.
Oh, well, they're right. I tried to look for a spot right by you. Let me just click this right here. Sorry, everybody. Need some light.
Yeah.
All right.
I'm not a big burger guy, I guess, whatever. So there's some around here, though.
Yeah. So forget that question. Let's see. Hold on. Virtual background. Oh, look, I'm green. Oh, we can have so much fun here. Oh well. I'll just look like this for now. I like it. Where we at? Sorry, world. I know I'm very choreographed here. Clearwater or St. Pete?
Ooh, man, it all depends if you want beach or, you know, or more of, you know, nightlife kind of stuff. I like St. Pete because I love the music. I love the, you know, we say all the bars and other clubs and stuff like that around there and stuff. You know, and friends, it's a good place to hang out. And stuff, especially when they do like, you know, some of the celebration go in St. Pete, from concerts to, you know, First Friday and stuff like that. You know,
yeah, I know my sister and brother-in-law are missing. Yeah. I think you missed. I think when you're open and it's crazy, you're like, oh yeah, this is crazy. Why do they do things like this? And then when you have a quarantine like this, you're like, man, I would die for First Fridays every day right now. Yeah, they definitely would love to be back open. Bavaro's or Tampa Pizza?
Probably that Tampa pizza, I guess. Whatever. It's coming around. You know, a lot more. Yeah.
That's not like where you're home. Tarpon Springs or Weeki Wachee?
Oh, I've actually never been to Weeki Wachee. If you really want to know why, everybody tells me to go up there, but I haven't. So I just had to say Tarpon. Tarpon's a cool little
I
place.
haven't been there either, so that makes two of us.
Yeah.
All right. Extreme Tacos or Urban Cantina?
Ooh, man, I like Urban Cantina. You know, it's weird when Urban Cantina first like I think is coming along, whatever. I think the location at where Stream Tacos is now used to be the first place for Urban Cantina they moved. I could be wrong about that. There's been a lot of places into that, but Urban Cantina is yeah, it's a good place, man. A little better. It's more than just tacos.
Awesome. I love it. Look, I'm part of the
Yeah.
screen. All right. Back to more important stuff. Safety Harbor or Treasure Island?
Ooh. Let's see. Safety Harbor. That's walking there, sort of like that small town little feel, everything, you know. I've been there with some friends, you know, after rolling up with like Mark Prince's friends and family after like a for Thrashers game. Then rolling into Safety Harbor afterwards. You run into people from everywhere, from Clearwater and Safety Harbor, you know. So it's always a good time there.
Yeah, I got to, I grew up on an East Coast beach because I grew up in Miami. So we have Miami Beach and all that. But I got to tell people, as much as I love my home, the Gulf Coast is where it's at, man. Those areas down there, man, are awesome. I'm always jealous of you guys that live over there. Buffalo Wild Wings or the Anchor Bar?
Two totally different places, if you want to know.
I don't know. I put chicken wings in Tampa. So.
You said you got some good ones. The best ones you have to say would probably be Hat Tricks in Tampa.
All right, I got to go there.
Yeah, Hat Tricks, definitely. And that's so, that place will fill up right after a Lightning game or whatever. People will walk right down Franklin Street, and it's huge, whatever. Anchor Bar is more decent food, but there are couple little light dive bars around the area kind of stuff.
Oh, okay, got it.
But yeah, B-dubs, like most coaches would tell you who's been on the Fargo trip more than once, you get tired of B-dubs after Fargo too much. So the Buffalo Wild Wings is, it's okay, but you have your full of it with one summer. You don't want to go there again until another year.
I don't blame you. Sarge's Barbecue or Al's?
You know what? Never had either one of those.
All right. So more prestigious, Fargo or 32?
Oh, Fargo.
All
I'm
right.
gonna say, I mean, it's two different styles of wrestling, and everybody's gonna say about it kind of stuff. But the thing I say makes Fargo more prestigious, whatever, is everybody's there to represent a certain state. You see the teams that roll in and stuff, whatever. So it's not just an individual representing a club or a high school program or something like that. It's just states with buses, and their whole state comes out of there. And when it comes on the mat, it's not like, oh, there's one kid or so and so. No, there's California or Illinois taking up 4 warm-up mats in a row or something like that. Yeah, it's that awe feeling. I'm like, crap, this is huge.
Yeah, I obviously not to that level. I got to experience Disney last year, and it was
Nice.
definitely pretty cool to see. That's other than, I mean, I've been to like high school wrestling matches, right, that are duels, but
Yeah.
I've never been to like a dual tournament. So it was pretty fun to watch. Like you said, like you saw like South Dakota, North Dakota,
Yeah.
Pennsylvania.
Yeah, something like that. But like far as just you take what you see at Disney and just multiply it when it comes to these kids and representing their states is pretty cool.
Yeah, and some of those Midwest people, like I'm like, there's no way he's 125. That boy looked like he just ate 2 cows. Yeah. Oh my God. And it looks like the whole offensive line they brought with them.
How did he have so many kids? Yeah,
Yeah, it's crazy. Well, I know you know these 2 spots, Ybor City or the Channel District.
Oh man. Well, I'm waiting to see what the Channel district right there in Water Street turns into with all the construction and stuff. But really enjoy Ybor. I like the the architecture of it. Ybor's just got so much stuff there, and it's just a cool little place to walk down the street and everything. And there's just so many different little restaurants, clubs, or whatever. It's I do.
Yeah, when my brother-in-law, who is the brewer for St. Pete Brewing Company and the partner owner, when he and my sister-in-law first moved back down to Florida, the brewery that's there in Ybor City, the Tampa Bay Brewing or whatever.
Well, you got right there in Ybor, around 60, I guess, across from McKee, you have Coppertail. That's one. Let's see, the Tampa Bay Brewery is right there in Central
Tampa Bay
Ybor.
Brewing's the big one, right, with the restaurant in it and stuff.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So you got one off to it. So there's one pretty much to name them. So Tampa Bay Brewery is right there inside of the, Central Ybor. Yeah. Cool little place. You got old Coppertail's whole organization out there and stuff, and all the little other restaurants might have a little microbrew inside the restaurant.
I remember visiting him. The kids were, they've been open already 5-6 years in St. Pete, but I remember kids being small. We go to Ybor and visit them there.
Yeah, cool place, great food
I think
too.
that's where the first Columbia, or maybe
Columbia restaurant in Ybor City, the first one since I can't remember 1901, 1903.
Yeah, I think that one or St. Augustine. Yeah, it's that place is fun. My wife likes the what's that fruit wine that they make there for the adults?
Oh, I can't remember. I've only been there a couple of times, man.
Sangria.
Oh, sangria, yeah, the sangria there and stuff, yeah. That and their salad and everything else, yeah, definitely.
Great place. Well, before we go, Mr. Jake Campbell said shake and bake style wings at Hat Tricks.
Yeah, it's places not everybody knows about, but definitely it's great. Well, yeah, you can't beat it. Can't beat places like that who have are there when everybody knows when a game or a sporting events, lets out, you start following those people wherever you go.
I may be dating myself, but the last time I was at Channelside, the kids were small. We went to the Seaquarium, and then when we came out, it was a bowling alley and some restaurants. It was
right there, and you have Spencerville and everything right there and stuff. So so they've done a lot, changing a lot there in the Channelside district. So a lot of stuff building and growing, a lot of different changes, but it's always been a good place.
Well, man, this has been awesome. We had a lot of interaction. Man, I usually go 20, 30 minutes. We're at 56 minutes, and sorry if I cut into any of your other lifetime right now, but that was fun. And thank you, everybody, for coming on and asking Coach Bricker questions. And that just helps a lot when I have things like that. Obviously with the younger kids, it's tougher to go longer than like 18 or 20 minutes because they're like short answers. Yeah, cool. But definitely this was fun, and you're doing awesome things, and keep kicking life's ass and having fun down there. And I can't wait to, as I tell everybody, I can't wait to take this on the road. I'd imagine I can just do interviews for so long until we can finally get into a room and hang out, or maybe
start traveling. Definitely start traveling, seeing some of these places, man. I mean, everything you're doing right now, this little interviews and stuff, whatever, and getting on the road and traveling. That's exactly how Martin started for Flow Wrestling. Because I remember when everything was going like that, and he ended up just with a camcorder driving around and going to a practice, interviewing the coach and stuff, whatever. And you see what Flowcast is now, that huge empire kind of stuff. But so a lot of guys got started. So definitely.
Yeah, and it's been fun. There's the purpose behind it, and I'm kind of glad. Somebody said the other day, there's millions of podcasts, and I got to tell you, on April 6th, when I had the idea that I wanted to just talk wrestling with whoever wanted to talk wrestling, there wasn't really many people. There was the big platforms, but they were only talking to the 1%ers or whatever. Yeah. Now I get online and there's coaches and kids I've interviewed now doing podcasts, but they're talking to everybody, which is great. So the more the merrier, bring them all on, because that means that people are talking wrestling and people are hearing about it, and it's just good stuff. So I'm glad to see other people out there doing it. And we just hit 2,000 followers on our page, so that's great. I've got a little private group that I started a couple weeks ago. It's only at about 600 people, but feel free to go in there and interact, post anything Tampa Prep, Tampa Bay Brawlers, any clinics, anything you want in there, please feel free. Sweet. I appreciate you coming on, man, and shout out to Jake and the crew, and if they ever want to come back on, they can. And man, I send your boy Artelona on here. I'm sure that would be fun.
Yeah, we got I'll see him this week or whatever, and Jake will too. I know Connor Beebe's got his camp coming up this week, starting on the 22nd.
Yeah, awesome. I actually messaged him the other day about the camp. We had him come on and talk about it. He's doing some really good things. I know that he's got really strict preparations. He's got masks that are ready for people to be wearing, and just
Yeah, he's got it figured out, man. So he knows what he's doing. He's when it comes to technicians, he's one of the best I've ever been on the mat with. I let him throw me around as much as he can and demonstrate moves on me so I can learn and stuff. So he's
yeah,
unbelievable.
he's been a great fan of the show, and he's really helped me reach out to different people, and I appreciate him. And Coach Cerullo said Brick is in the 1%, so I got a 1% on here. So
I don't know about that.
all right, my brother. Well, thank you so much. And when I get this thing on YouTube and I put it onto Apple and Spotify, I'll shoot you the links and stuff.
Cool. I appreciate it. Stuff like I say, we'll get some of these people on there, man. Get some more of these college coaches. I'll give you some names and stuff. And like I said, I'd love to get Arnold on here to talk to you. But his college coach, there's a couple of coaches, like, you talk to Sentes, who's, guy who's from Florida, coaches now. There's a couple other guys out there I know, like Tom Carr, who are college coaches who wrestled in Florida and everything and stuff too. So there's a lot of people, man.
I appreciate it, man. And it's great. It's great. I've gotten to learn so much, meet so many people, and meet so many people. Was that English?
It's good enough, man. You hear me talk. My grammar's not perfect. So.
All right, man. Well, hey, again, much love. And I really appreciate you. I know it's not something that you enjoy doing, so I'm glad you came on and sucked it up for me.
Trying to get used to it. This is how teaching's been lately. So.
All right. Well, anytime you want to practice, come back on.
No, I appreciate it and everything you're doing, man. Please keep it up.
Thank you, sir. You have a good one, Coach.
You too. Bye.